What's up guys? Eddie Martinez here with the Recording Connection, and welcome to your supplemental video for lesson number 9, Introduction to Pro Tools Part 1. And since you guys are going to be working in Pro Tools and you guys need to see everything that's going on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my face out of your space. Alright, so just like that, I'm gone. Now, by this point you should already have your Pro Tools downloaded. Okay, if you're running into any problems at all, what I want you to do is call your student service advisor. They can obviously walk you through the process of getting this installed. Or if there's a problem going on that is not related to student services, you probably want to go ahead and call up Avid and ask for some support. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and assume that everything is looking fine and you're ready to begin. If you don't have your Pro Tools right now and you're watching this video, go ahead and just watch this video a few times, and of course the other ones that are going to be coming along, watch those ones just to kind of give you a good point of reference so that when you begin Pro Tools, you're starting off on a good foot. Okay, so let's go ahead and fire up Pro Tools. Now usually this only takes a couple of seconds. I'm going to say, maybe 10 to 15 seconds at a maximum for that to load up. And the first thing you're going to see right here when you open up Pro Tools is the Quick Start menu. Okay, so right here it's going to give you a selection of some templates to use, an option to create your own session, to open recent sessions, or if you have another session, let's say on a hard drive or maybe on a thumb drive or anything like that, you can open up that session right there as well. Okay. Right here, what we're looking at is create sessions from a template. Now the templates are going to, different templates that we have available right here. We're just going to go ahead and take a look at the guitar one. And this is really if you're like a singer-songwriter, you have a guitar and you want to record a song or an idea that you have, they're going to give you plenty of templates here for your style of music. So, if you're, ballad writer, bluesy, if you're more metal or rock or something like that, they give you different options right there, and of course with different CPU usages so that you don't, bog out your system and you're crashing out every other second if you're running on a slower system. Okay, so that's what the templates are. Now, what we're going to do is we're really going to focus on creating a blank session. So we're going to click that, and we're going to be creating all the necessary tools that you're going to need to have to record your first song or just to kind of work out of for practice. Okay, so we're going to click that right here. And right here you'll see something that says Session Parameters. I just want you to go ahead and click this little triangle here. It gives you a little drop down. And right here it gives you the option to kind of set the parameters for this particular recording session. So I want to make sure that you do not record in AIFF. Now if you're wondering what AIFF, it's pretty much the standard protocol for Apple programs for audio. For right now, I want you to go ahead and use Wave, and in fact actually Wave is you could actually use that in Apple applications as well. I just find that Wave is more universal, so I want you to start off with that. Now I know we spoke about bit depth in previous lessons, so I want to make sure that you record at a higher bit depth. 16 is a good starting point, but right now I really feel that 24 is the industry standard, so you probably want to begin there. And if you have a higher system, with more specs to it, it's a little bit stronger, you might want to go 32-bit floating. Okay, the next thing we're going to go over real quick is sampling rate. So again, we've already talked about this in a previous lesson. You want to go ahead and have a high sampling rate. Now what the Avid MBox actually is able to get up to is 48 kilohertz. We're going to go ahead and keep it simple, keep it on 41.1 kilohertz. Now different audio interfaces will give you the ability to go even higher than 48 kilobits or kilohertz, pardon me. But we're going to go ahead and stick with the 41 or 44.1 kilohertz. Now for the in and out settings, you have a bunch of different options right here. This really pretty much depends on what you're mixing with. You could use last use if you opened up this program a little bit earlier, or you can go ahead and stick with the stereo mix. That's what I'm going to go ahead and do. And I'm going to click OK. The next thing that Pro Tools prompts you to do is to save and name your session. So I'm going to go ahead and name this Session Basics. And then it's going to give you an option to send this to a destination for where exactly where it's going to save. And usually it could save pretty much anywhere on your computer or on a hard drive. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it in my hard drive. And you could even create a folder, like if you don't have a place to put all these files or this particular session, you'll just create a folder if you wanted to. And in this case, you could just title it, Pro Tools. Oops. And you can put all your Pro Tools sessions in one folder for easier access. Now, since I already have that available, I'm not going to select that. That was just an example. I'm going to hit cancel. And then I'm going to hit save. And then once I hit save, you're going to see exactly what the layout of Pro Tools looks like. So here we are. So this is what Pro Tools looks like. This is what is called, this whole screen right here is called the arrangement window. Now, sometimes you might get this. You might be looking at the mix window. It'll look like that, and it'll be absolutely empty. If you see that, just hit Command plus, and that'll take it away. Okay. Or if you see, you could obviously just move over and tick that. I know that looked absolutely empty, but what we're going to do in this session is we're going to go ahead and create the necessary tools, like a mixer and a couple of audio tracks, so that there's something on that mixer area. So the first thing we're going to do is create these tracks. I want you to go ahead and hit Command-Shift+. If you're on a PC, that's probably going to be Windows-Shift+. And this is going to, actually, that's going to be Windows-Shift-N. And that'll bring up your new tracks. So when you see this window right here, it gives you the option to create multiple tracks at the same time. You could either create, one, or maybe you can create, 4, or maybe, it doesn't really matter, 24. You just type that in and it'll create that amount of tracks for you. In this case, I just want to go ahead and create just one. And the type of track I want is I actually want a stereo track. And I do want it to be an audio track, although it does give me different options to create audio tracks, auxiliary tracks, master fader, a MIDI track, or an instrument track, which is pretty much like a MIDI track. And I want it to be in samples rather than ticks. Now, ticks is really used for MIDI, and I'll show you what I mean in a little bit when I create a track. Now, if you want to create more than that track, you can go ahead and click this plus button right here, and you can create a different type of track. Okay, so maybe you wanted a mono track, which I do. I do want it to be an audio track. I only do want one track. I want it to be recorded in samples. That's fine. And I'm going to create one more track right here. And I want this one to be a stereo track, but rather than it being an audio track, I want it to be a master fader track. And I'll just go ahead and click this one more time just to show you what I meant by MIDI and it being different. Now, the moment I click MIDI, you'll see this change from samples to ticks. And you'll see what I mean right now. See? That's because when you're working with MIDI, you're working with quantization, and when you're working with quantization, it's better to have it under ticks. Okay? But we don't need this track. We're not going to create a MIDI track right now. I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And now things are starting to look a little bit more interesting. We have two audio tracks and a master track. Now, one of the first things you're going to want to do is change the names of these, because once you start recording tracks, all those tracks are going to be right here in the clip area, and they'll be named, audio 1 and audio 2, and then it'll be, this is going to pile up, and then you're not going to know what type of audio you were recording, whether it was a guitar track or piano or vocal or whatever. So you're going to want to change this so that you can see exactly what you're looking at under clips, just in case you need to make some edits. Okay, so the way you go ahead and change this is you hit Control, and then you click right on the audio where it says audio, and you could rename it to anything that you like. So the first thing I'm going to name it as, the first track I'm going to name it as Synth Bass. I'll call it Synth Bass. I'm going to hit OK, and that'll usually move you over to the next track. And this track is going to be a click track, okay, for the metronome. Hit OK. And then master 1, I don't like how it has the number 1 there, so I'm just going to take that out, hit OK. And things are looking better. Now, the next thing you'll notice is that you'll see right here where it says Insert, A through E, and In and Out. Now, if you don't see this, that's because you need to go to this box right here and click that. This is your Edit Window View Selector. So you're going to click that, and you can select different things that you want to see show up right here. So maybe I don't need to see the comments right now, but the comments are always a good idea just in case you're doing a vocal and you're using a particular type of mic. You could always just go over to the comment area and type in the specifics of that track, but I don't need that for right now. I'm going to go ahead and let's say that wasn't selected, or this wasn't selected, or pretty much let's say nothing was selected. I'm going to go ahead and individually select each thing. I want you to go ahead and select this first. Inserts A through E. The next thing I want you to select is the I/O, or in and outs. Okay? And this is going to allow you to add in plug-in effects and instruments and things like that in the insert area. Now for in and out, you might notice that this says no input. You might see that. So if you actually recorded something or tried to record something immediately, you would actually get a message saying this, that the track could not be record enabled because it doesn't have both an active input and output assigned, and that is no good. So you're going to go ahead and click that, and you're going to make sure that you have something selected for that, okay, for your interface. So you want to make sure that your input and your output is set up to your Avid MBox Mini. It should look something like that. Okay, you're going to do that for every single track. This one's actually going to say just one in, or one input. That's because you're selecting only the mono channel in that mixer. And it's still going to go out of outputs 1 and 2. You want to make sure of that. And then as for the master, you want to make sure that this is selected to something as well. So if it has no output, you want to make sure that it's selected to outputs 1 and 2 stereo out of your Avid MBox. Okay, cool. So for right now, if I hit play, you probably do not hear anything at all. And if you did this as well, you probably haven't heard anything either. That's because right here, there's no metronome set up for this yet. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that the click is set up. Okay, so the click is set up, there's still no sound, but that's because there's no insert for it yet. So let's go ahead and click out of that. And I want you to click your first insert. Okay, so that's going to be for track number 2 for the click. You're going to click on this very first available insert. You're going to go to plugin. You're going to scroll down to where it says instrument. And right here you have a very handy mono click. And you're going to go ahead and select that. Now immediately it gives you some options to go ahead and change the volumes of the accented click sound and the unaccented click sound. You can go ahead and arrange that. I'm going to go ahead and leave it as is. Of course, I think it also gives you some options for different types of sounds for that, but we're just going to leave it as is. I'm going to go ahead and X out of this. And now when I hit play, you should hear something. Ah, so that's what we're looking for. Excellent. So now we're able to go ahead and set up some recordings. We have something to play back to. Now another thing that's really important to get set up as well is the tempo. Because every song has a different tempo to it, or most songs will have a different tempo to it. So you want to make sure that's set up. If that was a bit slow to you or too fast, you can go ahead and set that up by going to the tempo area. You'll click on this little X right here. It'll bring up this box. And you'll be able to go ahead and select the type of tempo that you want. If you wanted it to be 100, you could do that. If you wanted a 130, that's also available. But I'm just going to stick with actually, this thing gets crazy after a while, 120. There you go. Hit OK. Alright then guys, now things are starting to look good. Let's go ahead and explore the transport bar. So let me go ahead and bring that up for you. There's different ways of bringing that up. You could always go to the window, hit transport, or you could hit Command 1 and that'll bring it up as well. And here's the transport. So I'm going to go ahead and explain a lot of these options that are available right here. Okay, the main stuff we're going to go over is this stuff right here. And what we have right here is online. Now what online is it allows you to sync up uh, hardware that's not on that's connected to your Pro Tools, but is external hardware, it's like a mixer or something like that. This will allow you to sync that up so that you can use that to control faders and other objects in this arrangement window and other places. Next you have the return to zero. Now let's say if I had the playhead, which is this red moving around, over here at let's say measure 41 beat 1, and I wanted it to go all the way back to the beginning, I would just hit that, and now there it is, conveniently back at measure 1 beat 1. Now the rewind button works just like any other rewind button. Let's say again I'm over here at 41 beat 41, measure 1. I could just use this and just go back a little bit, and usually it's going to go back increments of a measure. You can also make it so that it moves back a beat, or however you want to do that. For the most cases, you just want to leave it on measures. It's most handy that way. Let me move this back. 0. Now the next feature is fast forward. Again, it's going to work the same way as the rewind one does, moving one measure ahead at a time. Next, what you have here is the go to the end, and this is going to allow you to move all the way to the end of your project. Okay. You have a stop button, a play button, and a record button. Okay. So when you're actually recording something, what you want to first do is you want to go ahead and record enable your track. You're going to start at the very beginning. You're going to hit the record enable button on this, and then when you're ready to record, you'll either hit play or the space bar, and then you can begin recording. Okay guys, so we're actually not going to record anything for right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unarm my track so things stop blinking. It's kind of distracting. I'm going to go ahead and move this to the side a little bit, and we're going to learn how to save. So if you want to go ahead and use this session for your upcoming projects, go ahead and you could do a few things to save. You can go over to save, or that would be Command S. Okay. You could save as, let's say you don't like the name of the project as Session Basics, maybe you want to name it something else. You can always save as, let's say, Session Basics 1 or something like that. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to go ahead and cancel that. Now there's other options that you could do right here. You could save a copy in, and this is if you want to go ahead and save a copy and put it on a hard drive and take it somewhere else. So it gives you different options here. Okay. Now if you know your friend or the people that you're working with are running the latest version of Pro Tools, you could always use this. If they're running a later version of Pro Tools or an earlier version of Pro Tools, you could always use this option right here. And it even takes you back all the way back to version 3.2. Okay. Of course, you have different options right here when it comes to, let's say you wanted to save it and you were going to go ahead and use it on on Logic. You could always hit this button right here, or even this one right here will also work in Logic as well. So this is for more like the Apple peripherals. Again, you have the same bit depth options. Okay, and if you want to go ahead and copy other items as well, you could do that as well. You can copy the audio files, and right here gives you different options for copying these audio files as well. Okay, let me go ahead and cancel out of this. Then there's the other option of, if you really like the way you set things up, you want to use this for other projects, other songs that you're going to be working with. Maybe not even particular this one, but it always gives you the option for whatever project that you're working on to save that as a template for other projects that you're going to be working on in the future. You could always create a template and then save it, and you could save it in a particular category, or you could even just add your own category as well. You can maybe title it like New Style or something like that. And that'll allow you to save that template, so next time you get to that quick start menu, you can begin using that template you just created.
Alright everyone, that's all the video I have for you today, but if you're looking for a little bit more, don't forget to check out Music is My Oxygen for all the things that you love about music, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.